We're here with Khalil Johnson of the Connection debate team, and you just finished a pretty successful season, I would say, one of the top teams in the city, and really some national recognition too. Can you tell me a little bit about this season? What was the topic? What were you into?
Well, the topic this year was the U.S. federal government should substantially increase social services to people living in poverty. At first, when we first got this topic, I was in debate camp, and it didn't really seem that interesting to me. So, like, I didn't really take advantage of the time I had, the plan ahead this year, the head start I had, and then I got to a few debate tournaments, and I had different partners like 3 times, and it didn't work out really well. So then that made me not want to debate that much. But then I got to hook up with Buster, and I got to see how debate really should be. It should be about yourself and your representation during that round. And it was fun. Buster taught me a lot. And then we traveled to New York for the um national tournament, and it was good because I got to meet a lot of good people, and I got to see what debate was outside of Baltimore City, and I got to see the connection that we all shared, like in New York. Like everybody come from the same struggle, or if they didn't, you got to experience the lifestyle of somebody else. So that was good, and it's always good to be open-minded when meeting new people because you don't want to be closed-minded, and it could push people away. So that's another good thing. Basically, the New York trip was still for next year. The New York trip encouraged me to stay in debate. So now, since I got to travel debate, got to travel to New York, I want to travel all the time now. So I want to go to Towson for college, and I want to join the debate team. The debate team is really good, I heard, and I want to make debate a career.
All right. So you said that you guys kind of changed the way you debate. Can you tell me a little bit about why do you think that's important that you should be debating from your own perspective? Um, why is that more important than say imagining that you're the government and talking about it from the perspective of the government like most people do?
Well, there's nothing wrong with speaking as a third person, but I'd rather represent myself. I'm not the government, so therefore I cannot speak for the government. I'd rather speak for myself because speaking as myself in the debate round is really coming from me. I really understand the struggle. When I speak for the government in the debate round, it's not guaranteed that my plan will pass. My plan that I'm speaking from third person's perspective won't even probably reach the government. So that's not even going to work really. So I'd rather speak from my own views and have a connection to my arguments and understand my arguments in my office that I use during my debate rounds.
And what are your views? How do you relate to this year's topic? What does it
Well,
mean to you?
it's about people living in poverty, and since I'm in poverty, who better else to represent people in poverty than someone from poverty that understands the struggle? That is a people who understand. That's naturally someone who is in the struggle and is speaking for their people.
All right, and you mentioned your authors. Tell me a little bit about what you've been reading this year
Well,
and what kind of an impact
this
it's had
year,
on you.
well, I didn't really start reading books like that until I hooked up with Buster, and I didn't actually read the books, but the cards that we used in our debate rounds have really stuck with me. Like I understand how society works, and I've become more aware of my surroundings. Like I don't accept things for what they are. I always question them sometimes, um, because I know everything is flawed. And if you question things, you can come up with ways to fix them. You can understand the shortcomings of them, and together you can, as a group, you can come up with ways to fix it. And that's basically what we are doing here. Me and my partner Buster were anti-capitalist, and we used Cornel West, who was also an anti-capitalist, and we use his arguments to back us up. And we write papers based on our political views and understandings.
What does that mean to be anti-capitalist?
It means to be against being anti-capitalist. Being an anti-capitalist means that you're against the system that we are under, like the everyday normal system that people don't really pay attention to because it becomes natural to them. And it's unconscious, but people who know about the system, the exploitations of it, they are aware of it, and they are sick and tired of it because it's not really helping them. It's just for consumption and gain for big businesses.
All right, well, many people would defend the system. Probably a lot of people do on a
Well,
day-to-day basis. What what is it that that causes you guys to be angry about capitalism or want to critique it?
Because it's the capitalist system is based off a win or lose system. It's like the people in poverty are the people that's losing. And in order for our society to run, we need a loser. And I don't think that's fair. I think we should use a human love ethic, which is based off of everyone being connected and every. It's not about every man for themselves. Like in our society, basically, it's always like the rich is always exploiting the poor. Like you need the poor to survive, since the economy is based off of a win or lose system, which is the capitalist system.
Okay, so that's cool. You use some Cornell West. Are there any other authors or books that you guys read from that?
Another offer that I found myself liking like recently because Buster used this card in the last one we used was bell hooks, and it talked about how we should think more like children because children don't accept things for what they are. It's like adults have forgotten to question things. It's like everything that we do now, we've been like stuck in that way for so long that it's become natural to them. So questioning something or being curious about something, the curiosity is gone. So kids, we should think like kids when it comes to questioning.
Okay, and actually, that's one of the things that I've really enjoyed about working with you, Khalil, is you have a cool way of questioning things that gets basically, um, at the heart of the matter. Sometimes even at parts of the matter that people don't usually think about. Can you give me some of the questions that you feel like lately you've been trying to dive deeper into, that you've been thinking about, talking about, dialoguing, debating about?
Questions I've been thinking about lately. Um, why are people so close-minded? Um, the reason I think about that is because if everybody is closed-minded, you basically just shut people off. You never take the time to understand someone else's views on something. You don't necessarily have to agree with their views, but it's always good to have a basic understanding of the concept of how they think. Because with like understanding that concept, you understand them, and therefore you can create this connection. And that's what like I'm all about is creating a connection with people, being connected with people, helping people.
Why do you think that's so important?
That's important because I think that's the main key to having world peace, having a connection with everyone, understanding people.
All right,
Because you can't help someone without having a basic understanding of them.
and do you think that's something that's possible?
It's possible. Um, that's what we use debate for to make people aware of this. And eventually, when people become aware, they can pass the word on. Like in this hallway, I have a big class on this in this big long hallway, and people hear about the discussions we have about capitalism or just basic conversations we have over here, and they join in and they become aware of like the surroundings and things. And everybody has their own views, so that's a good thing. So you can see the views from like many different children who live in poverty.
Okay. And what do you think about the opinions as they come down the hall? I mean, some of them are kind of raw, but
I think the rawness of it is real. I think that's the heart of it. You get into like the root, main root of it, and it's just good to just make people aware.
okay, right on. Well, that's Khalil Johnson, Connections Debate Team. Hey, do you mind if we put this on YouTube?
Sure.
All right, peace.
Peace.